You're listening to Parasearch Radio, news, views and reviews from the world of the paranormal from across the UK and beyond. Find us on Facebook, Twitter and the World Wide Web. Parasearch UK Radio. Parasearch Radio, broadcasting to the UK and beyond.
The views and opinions expressed by presenters and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the official policy or position of Parasearch Radio or its affiliates and sponsors. Listener discretion is advised. You're listening to Kerry Greenaway and Mark Manley on the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show, only on Parasearch Radio.
Good evening and welcome to the Dark Mirror Paranormal Show. My name is Kerry Greenaway, as I'm sure you're all very well aware now, and I'm joined in the studio tonight by my lovely co-host, Caz Rooney. Good evening, Caz.
Good evening, Kerry.
No Mark tonight, unfortunately, I'm afraid.
I know.
So, we are alien free.
Yay.
Yay!
Hey!
We shall have to make up for it, I feel.
Do we have
Nah,
to?
we don't. No, we wish you better, Mark. We hope that you get better soon. And it's such a shame that you are not well tonight, because I know you really, really was looking forward to talking to our guests tonight. We have guests on the show, Caz.
Yay!
Woohoo! We have got the GSI, or two members of the GSI team tonight. We have got the absolutely adorable Mr. Gary Waters. Good evening, Gary.
Hello.
I love flirting with this man. It's the accent, you know. And we have the newest team member of GSI, which is Karen McCready. Good evening, Karen.
Good evening.
So we had you on before. We had Karen on before, who's Gary's wife. And that was an absolutely awesome show. We didn't stop laughing from the time you came on to the time that the, after party show finished. So tell us all what you've been up to in the last, 9 months, I think it's been, would you believe?
Wow. 9 months, wow. Quite a lot, actually. Quite a few investigations. We've done, I'm not sure if what Karen touched on, but we have done, we investigated Wexford Castle, Enniscorthy Castle, better known as, down in the south of Ireland. Beautiful castle, dates back, I think it's about 800 years. We've also done a few successful public events at the Crumlin Road Jail, and then we've also done a couple of private cases as well. And then start of the year there, we've been approached with a lot of new exciting projects for the team. So we're very excited. Mm-hmm.
Well, you've been very active on the socials. I've been watching what you've been getting up to. Now, before we go any further, I know last night you was actually out and about, weren't you, Gary?
Fortunately, I was, yes.
It was very cold, wasn't it?
Very cold, yeah. No, yesterday morning, I had a discussion with my lovely wife, Karen, and I said her as a joke. I says, Karen, would it be good fun if I got 100 likes on our GSI page that I would do a sleepover in a haunted location? Little did I know then that Karen had went and posted up on our GSI page about me doing a lone vigil, and I think within the first 3.5 hours, so I had over 100 likes. So unfortunately, she put me right in it, and I felt like a sinking ship, but I had to do it anyway, and I was excited about it. So what we're going down now is we're doing a lot of live investigations, which is pretty exciting. And why we like that is because we get a lot of interaction with the public. Yeah. You know, what I said last night during the live feed is that when we do these cases, not only am I here in the building on my own, 500, 600 people watching is better than just one person. And not only will I hear things, but obviously they're going to hear things through electronic devices as well that can back up the investigation. So it's very, very exciting, and that interaction as well, it's pretty cool for us to do.
The live thing on Facebook is really taking off with investigations, isn't it? I've noticed that. I mean, like every evening there's like at least 10 people. I mean, I'm bearing in mind I'm friends with a lot of paranormal community out there across the world. But it's really taking off, isn't it?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's good too, because when we do a lot of documentary investigations around Ireland and England as well. We've been to Chillingham Castle Keep in England, and a lot of our investigation that we would film it for our YouTube channel. Mm-hmm. It's good because when you're doing the live feeds, when people watch our YouTube channels, it's pre-recorded, obviously, and it's maybe 2 weeks down the line where it's posted on our YouTube channel. A lot of people, well, not a lot of people, but you always get the odd skeptic saying, but are you not faking that? We always say, no, 100%. What we do is 100% real. And during our live feeds just proves that as well, because the live feed last night, I think the last comments we had was over 900 comments, mm-hmm. which is pretty astonishing for a live feed. And last investigation was very, very interesting, I have to say. It's very, very good.
Where were you? Tell everybody where you were.
Well, I was in a little town called Donaghadee. It's about 20 miles from Belfast, and it's on the east coast of Northern Ireland. And it was just, it's a tiny village. It used to be a fishing village back in the early 1900s. And I was brought up there as a child. I lived there for 20 years and heard a lot of the ghost stories. This particular place was one of the places that stood out for me. It was it was a Donaghadee town hall, but people in Donaghadee call it the old town hall because it dates back to the 1770s, I believe. So we've investigated it a few times. I thought, with Karen posting that up yesterday, we had to get a location pretty quickly. But we're lucky enough we had access to this building with the owner. He's absolutely amazing, fantastic guy, and he gives us full access to it.
So that leads us on to how important it is to actually build a really good relationship with the location owners, isn't it?
Very much so, yeah, absolutely, yeah. It's very important because if you've got a location that you're drawn to, that it's up there with your favourite locations, you want to keep that friendship with the owners, and you want to keep obviously on the good side with them as well. But we have a fantastic relationship with the owner, and we have done from day one. Unfortunately, with that location soon, it's been turned into apartments, so we're not going to be very much longer, unfortunately. But no, the Donaghadee.
I'm actually shocked. Sorry, I'm sorry. They're changing it into apartments. Did you say?
Yeah. The owner actually, I don't want to say too much, but he actually bought it online without even going to look at it, which was a big risk to do. But talking to the owner, he loved it. He loved it from the start when he walked in. And on the night that we actually done the investigation, he came down with us, and he actually had a ball. But unfortunately, he bought it. He's a building developer, and they've just been waiting on plans. That's been going on now for about maybe a good year and a half, and they've been passed now, unfortunately. But we've had a good year and a half's research into this particular location, and we've got some amazing results from it as well.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah. So.
Oh my goodness, I hate that. I absolutely hate that when you get an amazing location, a real historic location, and then it gets converted. And this is nothing to do with the paranormal. This is like a little bugbear of mine because these places need to be preserved. They're amazing history hubs of community 9 times out of 10. And apartments, it's just heartbreaking. Do you not think? Absolutely,
yeah. It's a shame, really, but it's sat there for nearly over 200 years, I suppose. It hasn't been used since the early 1980s. So I suppose one day down the line, somebody's going to take it over, I suppose. But we've thoroughly enjoyed our time there. And in fact, Karen, you'll back me up here. What's your very first investigation that you ever done with the team?
Yeah, it was.
As well.
Yeah.
We brought you in that night.
Yeah.
And you were even actually, you're quite open-minded,
Yes.
even a bit of skepticism.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even this lady beside me here, Karen, she actually enjoyed it as well. So it is an amazing location. Unfortunately, it's just like anything else. We have to move on to greener fields, I suppose.
That's true. That is one thing it does. It does push you into other locations. Now, Karen, you are the newest member of the GSI team, aren't you?
I am indeed.
How long have you been with them?
Too long.
July 2017, July last year.
That long?
Feels
like 4 years.
It feels like forever, Kerry, I'll be honest.
I love the way she knows the exact date.
That's our Karen.
Yep.
Yeah.
Slight OCD in there.
Now, you didn't just join the team and go out straight away. You had a 6-month training period, didn't you?
Yeah, like a probationary period.
That sounds terrible.
And it does. Yeah, I suppose it was like I was a trainee for 6 months and then was invited to be part of the team on a full-time basis then after that, after passed.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I had to do a few load vigils to pass. I think there was a few tests maybe sent.
So what sort of things was you taught?
Well, just the different equipment and what the different things are, like EMF readers. And although I had quite an interest, really been looking at it from that, so I had always the team and actually had come out with Ghost Searchers Ireland.
Okay. You're breaking up a little bit, so we missed a little bit of that. But you learned all the equipment and you learned their methods, yeah?
Yeah.
Had you worked with a previous investigation team before you joined GSI?
No, they were my very first.
Had you done any investigations before that?
Yes, just as a member of the public.
Okay, and how had you found that?
Oh, it was brilliant. It's been an interest of mine from really as far back as I can remember. And I've gone to, actually the Crumlin Road Jail was some of the first ones, the 1-hour tours, and then I got introduced to the 4-hour tours, and that's where I met then the Ghost Searchers Ireland team.
Unfortunately.
Who, of course, just fell in love with my charms right away.
Oh, that's right. Me and Gavin will object that.
I bet he did, because I've seen photographs. Yeah, join our team. Come and join our team. You'll love it.
Gavin, we have a thing in the team with jokes and things with Gavin. We call him Man Mountain, but he's our, what would we call him, our male model of the team. We've been going. Yeah. He's built up a fan club now of a lot of women out there, so we wind him up every day about that, which is quite good.
To do a Ghost Searchers Ireland calendar.
Well, I have to say I'm quite a fan of Gavin, so I know you can add another one to the list. Kaz, do you know our Gavin? Yes. It's now our Gavin, you know it is.
You'll be making his head swell if he's listening.
I was going to say.
Yeah. It's big enough to listen.
It's okay. I'll crush him later. Don't worry. Build him up, crush him later. That's kind of how I roll.
I think I'll back here a little bit.
So, Karen, when you joined the team, you had your training,
and
then they literally throw you in at the deep end by making you do lone vigils.
Actually, even as part of the 6 months trainee, I was round a graveyard on my own, doing a live Facebook feed.
Oh, really cool.
But the good thing is that they are so down to earth that you're able to ask them questions at any time, and like they are.
And that's going to do because I'm sitting beside you. Listen to what you're saying.
A coffee.
Yeah.
So, is there at any point in this journey of yours, from stepping out from being a member of the public on an event to an actual investigator, has there been any point in your journey where you've gone, oh my God, what am I dealing with?
No, I think the excitement is still there for me, and I think because I've had such an interest for so long, I don't think that will probably ever go. Yeah, it's just something that I've always been interested in, and it for me is actually more of a wow factor still. I'm still sort of floating on air and can't believe that I'm actually part of a team and getting to see the other side of it. You know, the where we go in not only for private cases, but we would sometimes even just on team only events have access to places maybe where the public don't have access, and you know, it's just a fantastic opportunity.
What is the biggest thing you've learned through taking that step from public into private kind of investigating?
I would say probably just to trust my own instincts a little bit more, you know, because you don't actually realise that you yourself are probably the most valuable piece of equipment that you have out on an investigation.
Oh, I agree with that. Don't you think, Caz?
I completely agree
I
with
think, you know, even just...
Caz?
Yeah.
Right, I'm going to call Caz and Karen because they're getting confused, clearly.
People call me K-Mac, so you're more than welcome to call me K-Mac.
Oh, K-Mac. Hey. That's like a DJ name. Hey, I'm K-Mac.
We're in trouble here because my wife Karen's sitting behind us, so we've got a Kaz, a Karen, and a Karen.
I know, it's all getting a little confusing in the studio tonight. We've got like loads of K names.
I'm retired. Away my K team.
I think that was a big part of me getting into the team, is the fact that my name was Karen.
And going back to you are recognising that yourself is the biggest tool in the field. Now, I agree with that completely. So does Caz. You know, that's one thing. Have you noticed your own sensitivity has increased since you've been in the field?
No, probably not increased. I would just be more aware of it.
Yeah, it will grow.
Yeah,
it will grow.
Yeah.
So, I know. I find out myself. You know, I found out myself at the very start when I first started investigating. It probably took me about maybe a year or two to open up more. Mm. And you see, the more investigations that you actually do, you seem to tune into it a lot better as well.
Yeah, I think certainly more of an awareness. Absolutely.
Your senses seem to get a lot more attuned to what's going on around you.
I agree with that completely. And I know Caz does as well, because it's just astonishing actually how when you start, it's almost like your boundaries start coming down. So you take that step out of, oh my God, I'm on a paranormal investigation, and oh my God, it's dark in a strange location, and you transcend that and then go, you don't care anymore that you're in a strange location in the middle of the night in the dark, and you start listening for things, and your logical brain kicks in, but also your senses step up as well, don't they?
Definitely. 100%.
So what's the scariest thing so far that's happened to you, Karen?
Joining GSI?
Yeah. Sorry, he's just strangling me right now. Actually, well, just talking about senses, probably the strangest thing that's happened was one of the 4-hour paranormal tours of the Crumlin Road Jail. We take the public down. There's a tunnel that connects the jail to the courthouse across the road, and we do what's called the Walk of Fear. So we ask some of the public to walk the length of that tunnel. It takes about 2 minutes there and back on their own, just in sort of very dimly lit atmosphere. And I was standing just at the top watching the member of public just to make sure, obviously, that they stayed safe. And I knew Gavin was up with the rest of the members of the public. And as I was standing there, I thought Gavin came up beside me, or sort of behind me, but to the side. And I actually drew a breath to talk to him and turned, and there was nobody there. But I was certain that it was Gavin beside me. And I just think that really just took the breath from me, because I was so sure, I had no doubt in my mind that he was coming down just to check how, timings for the next person and that sort of thing. And as I took a breath in to speak to him and turned, there was nobody there.
You gotta love those moments.
I know. Yeah. And then the probably the scariest thing that's happened was actually recently. We have a bit of banter in the team about live lone vigils. So I had decided that I was going to do a lone vigil about 2 weeks ago in the Donaghadee Old Town Hall that we were talking about earlier. One of the ghost boxes that we use called the Coltis box, the gentleman Mark Coltis in England actually makes them. We were using that, and in response to a question that I asked, which was, should I go upstairs or to a different room? A man came through with a very strong Northern Irish accent saying, either follow me up the stairs or get up the stairs. And it was live on Facebook, and everybody's reaction, including my own, was unbelievable to have had that so clear come through.
It was that good.
It was like, get up them stairs, Gil. That's how it would have been said in Essex, anyway.
We've been out doing it. Well, I have personally been doing ITC experiments for about 12 years, and it was one of the clearest responses that I've ever heard. And it was that clear, I actually thought somebody else was in the building. That's how clear it was.
Yeah, it sounded like it was from beside me, even though I knew it was coming from the Coltis box. It sounded like they were in the room with me. It was so loud. And it was in direct response to my question about going up the stairs.
Yeah, and even your reaction after.
You can hear my reaction,
At the same time, you were a bit astonished. Maybe
Have you overcome the fear factor? So, like, when you get a response like that, or you have an experience like that, have you actually managed to overcome that initial flight or fear factor?
Yes, I would say so. Quite a lot of people's comments, and obviously friends and people that we've met along the journey in GSI all comment and show their support, and all of them were sort of joking, saying don't go anywhere near the stairs. But of course I went up the stairs. So it was my first reaction was to go up the stairs, because obviously a spirit had come through and possibly asked me to go up the stairs. So
and that's a sign of an excellent investigator.
Yeah, I had to go up obviously and then call out and see what the reason for me being up the stairs was.
Did you get any further response?
No, not really. The door was sticking. Then
that happened to me last year actually as well.
There were other sort of strange things happening. There's nothing that I could say tied up directly to that response or that spirit certainly didn't come back through the Coltis box or anything. Just
a shame, isn't it?
Footsteps beside me, footsteps behind me, that kind of thing,
and it is so difficult, though, isn't it, sometimes on an investigation, when you come across something like that, you do what they ask, and then you don't get that further link with that. And it's quite frustrating, do you not find?
Yes, yeah. Especially when we, 3 other pieces of equipment that night, were getting the word help come through quite a bit. And you would love, if there is that connection there or that communication, and there is something that needs help, you would love to help. And you're asking, what can I do? And, what help? But nothing else comes through, just continually, sometimes the word help. And, that can be frustrating as well.
Incredibly so. This leads me on to the help factor. It's been a subject that's been bandied about on socials quite a lot recently. Is when should you help a spirit?
Should we help the spirit?
I know, you see.
Yeah. Only if the spirit needs help. Obviously, it's human nature to go out of your way to try to help that person or spirit, if they exist, of course. But, we've done cases where we've picked up EVPs, possibly of children as well. And, okay, yes, it's exciting to get that on the recording. But at the same time, when you think about it, is this a child trying to communicate that does need help? Obviously, it's in human nature. You're going to go out of your way to help that person or that child to cross over. Yeah. That's my personal opinion. I don't know about you, Karen.
Similar. I suppose it's a real minefield. It would really depend on the individual circumstance at the time and on what it was really that was coming through. And
maybe the spirit doesn't want to be moved over.
That's it.
This is a thing where if you were a ghost, right? Put this in the perspective. If you were a ghost and you were attached to, say, a house that you were brought, and you had a medium, say, for instance, come in to try to cross you over, are you going to leave for a stranger to come in to cross you over? Of course you're not. You're going to want to stay there and stay there as long as you can, physically possible to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, why would you cross over for a stranger? You know what I mean? So to me, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Plus, the word help coming through, there is always that, you know, are they asking for help or are they saying you need help? They're there to help you, perhaps. Maybe they're there to help you with, you know, finding answers or, you know, suppose it really just depends.
It is very dependent on the situation. Obviously, I'm referring to a situation that has happened in regards to a location that's in England recently. And we've talked about this. It will be played out on Monday on the Parasearch Radio Encore show. So make sure you catch that one because we discuss this in depth. And I get on my little soapbox about this particular situation of somebody going into a location and just doing a clearance against the owner's requests.
Yeah.
What
I have
is...
to say,
Kaz, carry on.
It's that particular owner actually has it in the rules. When you agree to go to that location, you agree not to do that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So what are your opinions, guys, on that one?
Yeah, I mean...
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
It is, you know, I mean, I suppose a lot of it can be to do with publicity and things like that. But yeah, I mean, my own personal opinion is if there wasn't consent of the owner, then it shouldn't really have been done.
I agree.
Yeah.
That was the consensus on the show that we did last night. Now, okay, I have a question in the chat room. What was the name of the box you were using? The cultist box, did you say?
Yeah, so it's a cultist box, Coultous, and it's a gentleman, Mark Cultist. You can find him on Facebook.
Right, okie doke. So hopefully that's answered that question for you, Jay. That's my co-host in America who's listening in. Loves your accents, by the way.
Thank you.
And we've got Jamie and we've got Carl in the chat room as well, so give a little shout out to those guys. Now, Kaz, do you have any questions?
Yeah, I wanted to ask, I mean, when you go to a location, like you said, you use that box and you got that very clear response saying, follow me up the stairs or go up the stairs. If you didn't get a response, would you trust your gut instinct and do that without a response and just go up the stairs?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. Usually within a building, that we would explore everywhere because you could get a different response in different areas or different rooms, you know, and even on different pieces of equipment as well. So we would tend to use most of our equipment in each location just to see if we're getting something through on a different medium.
Yeah, depends on the size too, I suppose. You know, we do small, medium and large locations. But small to medium, we'll try to investigate every room. Mm-hmm. But you'll always go by your instincts, you know. As I was saying earlier, the more that you do this, you'll always go by, you know, say, for instance, there's a cellar, for instance, like a Donegal Town Hall. If I was doing like last night, for instance, it kept going through my head when I was up in the top, or the second from the top floor of the town hall. It kept coming through my head, go to the cellar. Which I did one. I actually went down for 5 minutes, so I followed my instincts. But this is something that you'll learn. It's something that I would suggest not to ignore. If it's there and it's being suggested to you, just go ahead and do it. That's my best advice for anybody.
Yeah.
Have you ever actually been in a location where using your equipment just does not work at all? It just won't work. Everything's absolutely failing. So basically all you've got is your senses and your instincts.
Yeah, and sometimes that's the best way. This is the thing we were, you know, I noticed last night, and it's something that you learn all the time. What was that? Did somebody just cough up a lung there?
Sorry.
Yeah, all right. Keep off that haggis. Sorry, what was I talking about? Haggis. I can't remember what I was talking about there.
Tech failure.
Tech failure.
Oh, tech failure. Yeah.
We're having Gary failure.
Yeah,
at the minute.
no. I started thinking about eating haggis. Sorry. No, if we're in a location where, like last night, a lot of equipment went down on me. This is a thing where a lot of people think that it's spirits or ghosts that's draining energy from batteries. But it's been proven by a lot of the electricians in the field that I know, good friends of mine, that would say when you're in a location and it's below a certain temperature, it will drain your batteries by 30%. Mm-hmm. So this is what was going on with me last night. I went and everything that we do as a team. Well, I do personally. I don't know about Karen, but a lot of my equipment that I use and Karen's equipment, my wife's equipment, we'll always use rechargeable batteries. The thing is, you could walk into a shop tomorrow and buy batteries that's on the shelf. It's probably been sitting there 2 years.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
you would put it in the camera, and within 2 minutes, it's completely drained. And then, of course, you're around and say, "Oh my lord, a ghost of spirit has drawn that energy out of my equipment or whatever." But it could be a natural element to it as well. So we'll always use rechargeable batteries because we know ourselves 100%. Anything that we use is 100% charged. Now, if it does drain, and if you're in a location that's pretty mild, say above maybe 7-8 degrees in temperature, that battery life will last maybe 30-40% a lot longer than what it would normally last if you were in a cold location like last night where everything on me was draining. I had high-powered batteries with four big batteries in it, was going down within maybe an hour and a half. I'm not saying that's ghosts that done it. That would be down to the temperature. So,
and that's the point of knowing tech. That's the point of knowing what you're dealing with and what you're recording and what you're using, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
The other side of that is on nights that we have had that have been really quiet. You've no guarantee that a spirit, if there is anything there, wants to communicate with you on that night. So actually, we're not always disappointed when nothing happens because it means that when something does, there's a bigger wow factor as well.
It's experience of it as well, you know. Mm-hmm. If people say to me, why do you do this? Now, I'm a professional businessman. I own 2 businesses. And they always say to me, why do you do this? It's because of the passion and the excitement of doing it. Now, I could go in a location tomorrow and investigate it and capture nothing, but it's actually the excitement and the search of trying to find out is there something beyond when we pass over, you know. So this for me is my drive, you know. Mm-hmm. So that's what keeps me motivated anyway.
Yeah.
What keeps you motivated, Caz, doing this?
GSI. On mountain. Coffee breaks.
Coffee breaks.
I would say very similar actually to Gary. It's just even exploring the history, the old buildings, even just the stories that go with those old buildings and having an opportunity to go in and explore because actually, again, the likes of old buildings, disused buildings, you know, the history of buildings, architecture, that sort of thing, you know, and I think each of us have that that love of history and, you know, as well. So it's even just being able to get into places like that and that really keeps me driven.
Do you know what? We must have the best hobby in the whole world because you're going out to investigate castles, subterranean tunnels, haunted islands, hotels, you name it. It's exciting. Graveyards.
No, I totally agree with that point. I said the amount of times I've gone into like a museum or something in the middle of the night and there's nobody else around. And it kind of like, yes, you're there to investigate, but I love that fact that I've got the whole location pretty much to myself, that I can just absorb what I want out of that location. And it's quite lovely doing it by torchlight.
You know, when you tell outside the paranormal field, they think, you know what? Are you for real?
These are all a bit strange.
Yeah, we've got 2 horns coming out of our heads, you know. But no, it's exciting. You know, it's a hobby that's you know, from most people that do this, you have to have a personal experience that's came to you during a certain time in your life.
That's your trigger. That's your trigger.
That's a trigger. Yeah, that's what gets you motivated. And for me, and for my wife Karen as well, and for all of us mostly anyway, that's what keeps us driven.
Yeah.
No, I agree. There's that initial trigger, and then there's that interest that comes afterwards to try and find out why you had that. And then comes the TV factor, because it brings it into the mainstream for you. And then there's the more why. And then there's the, I want to experience this for myself because it might mirror what I experienced back when. And then there's the why. And there's always that why. Do you know what I mean? And that's what pushes me. That's what pushes me on. Not so much in investigating. I don't do as much as you guys do, but the research side of it. I want to know why. I want to know psychologically. I want to know logically. I want to know reasonable explanations. But then there's always that nugget. There's always that something. There's always that I can't explain that drives you.
Yeah.
And that's exciting.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the nugget that keeps your passion alive.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh, I'm talking about relationships. Oh, sorry. I've gone into... Sorry, I've gone into my other job.
Like my man on the beach with his jacket on. Coming out of the water with his wavefronts on. It's Man Kinney, yeah, he'll be laughing. He'll be listening to us back at home, he'll be laughing his leg off.
Oh, dear bless. No, but I think it's so relevant. Research, we've touched on. Who does your research on your team?
Everyone.
Everybody.
Absolutely. For us, it's not about one person on the team, it's about everybody, and it's very important for us as every Go Searches team member. It's, Karen, you do a lot of research. My wife Karen does a lot of research. I do research every day, and you're always on the lookout for locations as well. But for us, we're blessed to have that connection with us, looking out for locations for us. Mm-hmm. Something came in for us today, which is pretty exciting as well, didn't it?
Yeah.
About can't say too much, I suppose, but it's a historical company in Northern Ireland that wants to. They're doing books and they work with charities, and they want to do maybe ghost stories they're working on. And they've approached us about they would love us to do maybe a couple of interviews with them and to put into their books as well. So, it's exciting, something new every day, I suppose.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That I think is the beauty of it, isn't it? There's so much. So the variety we have in UK, Ireland, Scotland, Wales, the variety of different types of locations is astonishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And of course the south of Ireland as well. Giving our friends down the south of Ireland a wee plug there.
Yeah, well, it's nice to be friendly. across the wall, as it were.
I wonder do they eat haggis?
I have no idea. Now, in Ireland in particular, there is a huge, huge mythology surrounding your beautiful island. Have you come across anything whilst you've been out and about investigating that links into that?
There was a lot of stories going around when we investigated Duckett's Grove down in County Carlow that there was a strong connection with the Banshee. But we, like any paranormal research team, you'll always go down there with an open mind. When we went down, we've never captured anything, unfortunately. And there's also a strong connection with Rams Island with the Banshee as well. Mm-hmm. And so the Fae, or the Fairy, as they're known here. And we've went there trying a couple of things to try to communicate with the Fairy. And a strong connection with him is, of course, the pots of gold. So what we tried one night and with quite a well-known person in the paranormal field about 5 years ago. We went over to Ram's Island and we were standing in the forest and we were all calling out, and this person, not giving out any names, came out with pound coins, golden coins. And he was throwing them this is true, he was throwing them into the forest, and he was saying, right, can you come forward and lift these coins? And the strange thing was, before he'd done that, there was complete and utter silence. And when he started throwing out these coins, we started hearing like shut the forest. It was really weird. Now, whether that was the fae or the fairy coming to collect their gold coins, I don't know. But when we were standing beside this tall conifer tree, and he says, right, are you recording? And I went, yeah. And just when he said that, we heard this mighty clatter. It sounded like the tree had fell down. There was like something that came down beside us, and there was nobody there. And I thought, that's really, really strange. So maybe there is a connection with the gold coins and the fae or the fairy. But it's a legend that I would love to come across personally. And, you know, maybe too many Irishmen have had too many Guinnesses. Maybe it's heard cat cries or something. But it's a fascinating legend. It's something that I was brought up in, growing up, and my parents and my grandparents would tell me, and I would sit down open-hearted and listen to their stories. And for me, it was fascinating.
I think everybody finds it fascinating, and it seems to be West Country in the UK going through into Ireland, and Scotland have a lot of myths and legends as well. But South or East UK, it seems to fade out more. Yeah. Have you noticed this?
Sorry, you broke up.
Okay, so myths and legends regarding fae and elementals and stuff like that is very West Country in the UK, very west of the UK. In fact, you can almost split the country in half with stone circles and stuff like that on the west side, going into Ireland, going up to Scotland. Now, that interests me a hell of a lot. Why is there that split? I don't know. I'm not expecting you to come up with an answer. Please don't expect that. But it is an interesting thing when you start looking at it. A lot of the stone circles, you know, ancient stone circles I'm talking about, by the way, and myths and legends regarding the fae and the Tuatha De Danann and stuff like that, are all West Country, all Ireland. And as I say, you go up into Scotland, into the more Highlands, they start reoccurring again. It's very strange, I find.
I suppose it's something like I said earlier, you're brought up with what people tell you growing up. But that's a very good question. But different countries, I suppose, different belief systems, maybe?
Yeah, possibly. Yeah, it could possibly be that. They just didn't have that, I don't know, locational movement, I suppose you would call it, at the time to spread. I don't know. It'd be something worth looking into, I feel.
Maybe there's no Ryanair in the fairyland, maybe.
Or maybe they went, sod the East, we like the West.
I'm not going to spend €1 to use your toilets.
Now, there is a myth and legend. I'm on to myths and legends, have you noticed, of a disappearing island off of Ireland. Have you, I mean, that is sort of like a well-documented thing. Have you looked into that yourselves?
Me personally, the person that I used to work with used to tell me a lot of stories about this. Apparently, is it legend? Is it real? I have no idea. I think it's on the west of Ireland, if I'm right. Would it be in the west of Ireland?
The West. Again, the West.
Yeah, we're back to the West.
Just pointing that out there. I'm seeing links here.
Back to Scotland, going to Scotland with the haggises, etc. No, I'm not sure. No, I've heard stories about that. And again, it's stories, it's legends. And the only way you're really going to find out if you get it's somebody would fork out a couple of £1 million to go down on a submarine to find out is there something down there in the ocean bed? Yeah. I don't know.
This is true. Is the money factor again, isn't it? If we had millions of pounds, there's so much we would investigate and do into the paranormal and the supernatural and the myths and the legends and stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
And places all around the world that you would just give your right arm to go to.
Yeah, like Alcatraz.
Yeah.
I was going to say, Karen, what would be your ultimate investigation place?
Good question.
Probably, there's a bit of banter in the team with
Really?
Gavin. With
Man Mountain
with
again.
Man Mountain
Back to
again.
Man Mountain.
I'd love to get over to Kentucky. I'm looking at Gary, so he now knows who I'm talking about. So I'd love to get over to some of the penitentiaries and things over in Kentucky. I mean, there's quite a few places in America I'd just love to get. Every time I see somewhere new that I'm intrigued with, I actually have a little notepad in my phone and I write it down. It's like the wish list.
Yeah, I've got one of those, the bucket list.
And there's about 15 or 16 places on it so far. Actually, we have been able to tick some of those off, but hopefully this year we're going to be able to tick some more off.
No, we've a lot of friends within the field that have came to us over the last couple of years, and I've actually invited us out to America to investigate Arizona in the Old West, and that's been a dream of mine and my wife Karen's as well, and the teams. So that would be exciting, I suppose. It's always exciting to go somewhere different.
Yeah, definitely.
We have talked about this before. Me and Kaz have talked about this before, and me and Jay, who's in the chat room, who's my co-host in America. We've talked about like in the old days, they used to do like the French exchange program for students. We've talked about this in regards to the paranormal. Come over, you can have my house. I'll go over to yours. I can have your house, and do some of these things on our bucket list. I agree. There are some amazing places around the world that I would love to investigate. I'm sure Kaz agrees with me. Kaz?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
America being one of them. Because of the penitentiaries, I mean, Waverley. I mean, come on. Who doesn't want to do Waverley?
Waverley Hills is where I was talking about. There's also an island off Venice. I'm sure I'm not Poveglia.
Poveglia. No one can ever pronounce that place.
And again, how amazing would that be? Even just the history behind that and what it was used for and things like that. It's be absolutely fantastic to get across.
Yeah.
Oh, but I was talking, funny enough, I was talking to Hazel Ford, who runs and owns Haunted Happenings in the UK, and they're actually looking at doing investigations at Poveglia.
Oh, right, okay.
That would be super.
So keep your eyes open on their page. As I say, she was on with Sean Cadman the other night, and she was actually talking about that and doing it properly as well, guys. Just putting that out there, because when you go to foreign locations, if you're going with a public team, there are certain permits, and that's the legal side of things that you need to take care of. And oh my God, Jay is going to Waverley 3 times this year.
Yeah, no, we were invited out there.
Yeah.
Actually, we were invited out there this year.
Yeah.
To Waverley for an all-nighter. Unfortunately, at the time, it just didn't suit everybody. But hopefully next year.
Yeah, definitely.
But it's definitely on our hit list. Absolutely.
And actually, just with Kaz's lovely Scottish accent in the background, I'd love to get across. Edinburgh is one of my favourite cities in the world. Edinburgh, I would move tomorrow if I could.
Yeah.
But we'd love to do Mary King's Close. Sarah in the team, we've talked at length about the places in Edinburgh we'd love to do, and down at the Vaults.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I'm with you on that one. The Vaults, yeah.
Is there Jedburgh Jail, I think, is close by. It's about an hour's drive.
Oh, yeah.
From Edinburgh. Yeah.
Right, guys, get in touch with Jay Lynch. He'll help you out if he can. So get in touch with him. Jay Lynch, he's my co-host on Paramania. That show gets played out on Parasearch on a Monday evening. But please connect with him, because he is awesome at connecting people with the right people to make things happen. So definitely connect with him. And if he can get you into Waverley when you're over there, he certainly will.
Oh, that would be amazing.
It is awesome. He's amazing. He knows so many people as well. So if you ever get to America, that's one person you need to connect with.
Yep. We have another friend of ours. He's quite known in the paranormal. Again, I'm not going to say his name, but we would love to go to New York as well. What's that island, Karen? Staten
Island, yeah.
I think that's the film of the birds. Do you remember the old film, the black and white film, The Birds was made? That was made in the Alfred Hitchcock film. Very atmospheric film. We actually watched that the other night, the first time in about 10 years. And why, this is the thing that we talked about. Why did they never do a remake of that film, The Birds?
Because you can't. Because even now, you watch any of Alfred Hitchcock's movies, they psychologically damage you. Even now.
That film's working for years. It's the first horror film that I ever watched, and the bit that got me was when the mother walked into the house and she seen your man lying there with his eyes plucked out. Yeah. And I was only about 8 or 9 years of age, and I'm giving me a joy here. But I had nightmares for years watching that.
Mm-hmm. That's horrible.
Isn't that funny? Yeah. A certain film that you would watch growing up, it always sticks with you.
Mm. Yeah. I can't swim in the ocean because of Jaws.
Oh, that's funny.
Jaws, yeah.
I had that same conversation with somebody a few days ago.
I can paddle, but I can't swim. I used to be able to swim in the ocean. I can do it in swimming pools. That's not a problem. No sharks there. But no, I go abroad and you're in the ocean. I'm like, no, I ain't going no deeper than knee length.
I'm a great swimmer in about 2 feet of water.
Yeah, exactly. As long as I can touch the ground, I'm fine. You ain't going to find a surfer in me. I'm just pointing that out. Now, your country is absolutely beautiful. I mean, there are some incredible locations in the UK. I'm not caning the UK at all. I live in an absolutely beautiful area myself, but Ireland is specifically... I shared a post the other day on Ireland, mainly because it just showed the geological even beauty of Ireland. It is one of the most prettiest places I think I've ever seen.
Oh, thank you.
I love that. It's just, oh, thank you. It's like mine. I live there.
A long time.
Yeah.
One thing on my bucket list is the Giant's Causeway.
Oh, it's beautiful. Yeah. Beautiful. Finn McCool.
Exactly. We talked about this last week on Giants. We was talking about Giants. But we also addressed a factor of, I knew a spiritual lady that went there and had an experience where she actually came across a leprechaun-sized Finn McCool. And it was very, very profound for her. Now, I'm assuming you can't live in Ireland without visiting places like this, can you?
No.
And it's awful. It becomes so second nature. Actually, we're up with the kids to the Giant's Causeway at least every couple of months. You're so blessed. I know. I belong to the National Trust. I'll have you know.
Do you live in Bangor, Fanny Trust?
You know how jealous I am right this second.
More lone vigils for you, girl.
No, it is. It's absolutely stunning. It is. It's beautiful.
When you go to these awesome places that have been formed geologically, there is a level of spirituality that kicks in when you're at these places, isn't there?
Yeah.
Is the natural energy that you start feeling.
Yeah. No, there is. Yeah, even the castle. There's a castle around there as well. And when you're walking the grounds of the castle, it's just very, very surreal. It's very atmospheric. That's probably because I went out at night time, probably. I don't know. But no, I agree with you there. Is there possibly a connection with the castle to the stone? I don't know. But Finn McCool is a guy that I always wanted to have a pint with.
I'm not sure I'd want it with Finn McCool. I'd rather have it with his wife.
Yeah, no, Finn. I would have a normal Guinness, and he would have a probably a Guinness 20 times.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, that'd be an interesting conversation.
But you could sit and look out at the ocean at the Giant's Causeway for hours. You'd be lost there for hours and not even see it go past. It's stunning. It really is.
It's that kind of place, isn't it?
Yeah.
Now, the other thing that Ireland is incredibly famous for, I'm sort of going into an island kind of tourist guide here, is cairns. You have a lot of stone cairns that are there. And there is a legend that if you take a stone from a cairn, that you get sort of like haunted. Have you heard that legend?
I haven't, I'll be honest.
No, it's news to me.
And I'm trying to think how many.
Wow, there's a one for you guys to test out.
Is this beach stones maybe down in Malay Beach? I don't know.
No, this is like burial cairns.
Oh, right, okay. Well, to be fair, I mean, you probably shouldn't take stone from any burial.
No, I agree with you there. But in Ireland, it is particularly well known, and you seem to have more of them than most people.
From
my research, anyway.
The potatoes, the starch in the potatoes makes you go mad.
The what?
The starch in the potatoes makes an Irishman go mad. Do you know there's about 30 different potatoes?
Really? Oh my God. I mean, that actually brings us to the history of Ireland. It is, when you start looking at Ireland in particular, I mean, the UK has a huge history too, but the condensed history that hits Ireland is absolutely extraordinary. The potato famine. Before that, you've got the Tuatha De Danann. We've talked about that earlier. The potato famine, obviously the political struggles that have happened in Ireland. There's so much, isn't there?
Yeah.
It's embedded in so much history, I suppose, but I suppose that's the same everywhere, really, in every country. With us,
I think it's more condensed because it's because you are an island.
Yeah.
It's more condensed.
Yeah, we don't do things by halves.
No.
The Irish certainly don't.
See, we're back to the Guinness and the potatoes again.
That's it, yeah.
I have tried Guinness in my day. I didn't particularly like it. I have to have it with a bit of a sweetener in there, a little bit of blackcurrant in there. I'm not a lover of, but I do love a little bit of, Irish whiskey.
Yeah.
That's more where my taste buds lie. I'm not going to lie about that.
For a moment, I thought you were going to say Man Mountain.
And the accent, of course. I'm not going to lie about that either.
You won't sleep well tonight.
Now, Caz.
Yeah, you'll have us all blocked on Facebook when he gets home.
Caz, have you got any last questions for the guys?
Yeah, before they go, I want to know what is the funniest thing that has happened to you on location?
The funniest thing?
The funniest thing.
Oh, do you know we're forever giggling? It's hard to pick one.
God, it's very good. Do you know what? I've been doing this for years and no one's ever asked me that question, so respect.
Yeah.
Oh, yes. Okay. For me, it has to be St. Papan's down in Dublin. We were asked to go down to do a Halloween event with the Dublin Council. We went down this location. We were going to live stream this investigation to 10,000 people at the Halloween event. But when we went down, we were setting up the equipment. This is real. I don't think I told you this. I was talking to Karen there, and we had set up in this very dark, eerie corridor. And my wife Karen was standing in front of me, and I was just in that moment where you're in a dark corridor, and your senses is open to everything. And Karen at that moment had said to me, "Gary, there's somebody."
Make sure the door's locked. You thought I said or something.
Yeah, Karen had said to me, make sure the door's locked. But I thought at that moment, Karen, my wife, had said to me, there's somebody standing behind you.
Right.
So I stood up and I'd done a ballerina dance.
I wasn't.
It was an octopus. I don't know how to describe it. It was an octopus ballerina. And And the guys laughed so hard for about half an hour. So that for me, okay, it was embarrassing for me, but it was funny for them.
Yeah. I'll be honest, I think of one particular moment. I mean, again, there's great banter within the group. If some walk off ahead of the other.
Ross Castle? That was a social week.
Aye. And if there's been times that Sarah and I have maybe been tailing up behind, and then suddenly the guys have disappeared, and the next thing they'll jump out at you and terrify the absolute life out of you.
As you do.
As you do.
As you do, yeah.
As you do.
But that's part of it, isn't it? Having fun whilst you're doing it. At the end of the day, this is our hobby. And you've got to have fun whilst you're doing it. Otherwise, it all becomes a bit too serious, a bit too bogged down. And what's the point?
Exactly.
I agree. This is the thing today where a lot of paranormal teams out there are taking it too bloody damn serious. Guys, chill out, relax, enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, pack it in. That's the best way I can explain it. But we love it, don't we?
Absolutely.
If you don't have a fun element within your investigation, you may just retire tomorrow.
And we have actually found sometimes when we're having a laugh and a joke among ourselves, we actually get fantastic energy. Yeah, because your energy's up, the energy is building. And then sometimes it's almost like a spirit's like, hey, I'm still here. And something, really good will come through on the ghost box, or, you'll suddenly just get snapped back into, oh, we're on location, because something amazing will just happen. It's almost like it's trying to get your attention back onto it.
Oh, I totally agree with that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that. The more natural you are on location and when you're investigating, the better the results generally. And if you don't get results, then you've had a good time.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
That's what it's all about. If you don't enjoy it, then why? But there's another thing. We've got some of our best evidence when we've just switched off cameras and having a chat, having a bit of banter, having a bit of fun. I'm sure Carrie, you're the same, and Karen as well. Karen, the thing is, if you passed over into the spirit world and you were a bit of a character with a bit of fun, a bit of crack, as we say here, and you're doing that in a apparently haunted location, there's a possibility maybe that spirit's going to come forward and communicate with you. But if you're all serious and you're all communication.
Oh,
what was that?
Oh, we're breaking up. We're on the last knockings. We're breaking up. Oh my goodness. Anyway, we have come to the end of the show. Unfortunately, we have come to the end of the show. Thank you so much. I love talking to you guys. You always make me laugh and smile. And I love to hear what's going on over in Ireland. I am so coming to Ireland at some point. Don't you agree, Kaz? Well, Kaz, you go and lived there and been there and done it and brought the toaster back, haven't you?
Yes, I have. And I'm going back.
We up the Crown Bar in Belfast for a Guinness.
In August.
Yeah.
It's a date, definitely.
And bring over some.
I'm going to start saving my pennies because I have Dublin and Belfast to visit.
You come to the north, Carrie.
I will be coming, definitely. That is one place on my bucket list for sure. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us. It's been a fascinating show, entertaining as always. I love you guys. I love it. I love what you do, and I love talking to you guys. You're absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much for coming on the Friday night show with us. Now, on Sunday night, we're having a night off tomorrow night because I always go out and get drunk on a Saturday night. So we don't do shows on a Saturday night. Can't understand why. We may do a pop-up. Who knows? On Sunday evening, the Spirit Dimension is 9:00 live with you. I have the amazingly knowledgeable Mr. Andy Mercer in the studio. We are talking runes. He's written a book on runes recently. And this ties in a lot with the Nordic Norse mythology we've been talking about on the Friday night show for the last few weeks. So join me 9:00 Sunday evening for the Spirit Dimension. Don't forget, all our shows go to podcast. They're available via the Spreaker app or on YouTube. Just search out Parasearch Radio and you will find all of the shows that are available. Again, thank you so much, guys, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Been great fun.
Thank you very much.
I look forward to catching up with you in a few more months to see how you're getting on over there in Belfast and, that area, Ireland. It's Ireland. I just class it as one place.
Sorry.
We'll take you to the dance causeway.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yes. Oh, God, yes. I will love you forever. And on that note, everybody, thank you, Caz, for joining me tonight.
It's been great, hasn't it?
It's been amazing. And on that note, thank you so much and farewell. I will see you on Sunday.
Thank you for listening. Don't forget to join us for more shows throughout the week. Find us on Facebook, Twitter, and the World Wide Web to keep up to date with all the shows right here on Parasearch Radio.